based on my own ability to type and spell, there are probably things here.
All right.
Are you going to certify seed breeders like Health Canada does?
No, we will not certify breeders, we will certify varietals.
So Rick Novak, who runs the program at Colorado State, which will be essentially Colorado State's promotion program, he made a comment when David Bush and I went to talk to him, that they're not allowed to touch it until they can are proven by you guys that it tests under that 0.3 limit. Are you going to be testing so first year you test and then test as a foundation and then a registered and a certified as well? Or are you about to get to that?
See testing requirements. How are we doing time?
3:30.
All right. I didn't want to not answer it, but I'm trying to keep us.
No, that's fine.
So there is. You're absolutely right. CSU cannot, for federal funding reasons, they feel, go into a field unless they know it is truly industrial hemp. In order for us to accomplish that, we will do variety trials in a number of locations across the state. We have thought about doing the northeast, the southeast, along the Front Range. We've got some cool nights up in the San Luis Valley and someplace on the western slope. So that a variety that can pass in all those areas, back to that farmer feel assured that that variety is, because we've tested it everywhere. And if it's been below 0.3% THC everywhere, that farmer should have confidence everywhere in the state. He ought to have confidence that it'll do so on his farm as well. So
Are these at CSU research farms or are these within program?
this is within a program. It may be on the CSU research farm. It may not. It'll depend on how far they're willing to go with. They were more interested when we said there may be some money involved in this. But prior to that, they weren't real interested in doing trials on their farm that they didn't believe were
Right, true hemp.
were industrial hemp.
And how much protection will the university also give the individuals or company that owns the genetics to be tested?
So all the varieties will be planted together. So cross-pollination, it is not going to be something that someone could steal or harvest the seed because it will be cross-pollination. Okay? So if you've got a variety, and Alfonso's got a variety, and Grant's got a variety, those varieties, they'll all be individual that we can test, but they'll also be cross-pollinated, so anybody that took seed off from it would. And we would make sure that any site, whether it was at the university or a private site, that was clearly understood that the seed off that, the plant material off that, is purely for research purposes, and it is to be destroyed.
All right, and I only ask because it's really difficult, pulling teeth difficult to get universities to do what common businesses do together, and that's NDAs and non-competes and IP protection. It's really difficult to get them to sign anything along those lines, and so if it is a university that does this and not the CDA will make sure that those are in place.
Absolutely. So we have not even committed to doing it at CSU. What we've committed is that we have to do it. And we're committed by the legislature to move forward, and our plan is to move forward with or without CSU is maybe the answer there.
Have you given some thought as to the cost and who would bear the cost? Obviously, the seed development would pay.
That'll be the last slide.
And one question is, if I buy seed from Ben that he's certified, is I'm still going to be tested, or if I can prove that it's...
If you buy certified seed from Ben, you would not be tested as the farmer. That
Unless something happens.
Because that keeps the value of the person that really put into it, because that's when I plant alfalfa, I make sure that it's certified alfalfa, that I'm going to get the right seed, and you're paying for that. So, okay, you answered my question.
But if you know, I mean, you had said basically you wouldn't test unless there was something for some reason to. And so if you know that the certified seed, its morphology looks like this.
Supposed to be
it smells
this
like
tall,
and you
and
see
it's
something
that tall.
different, you may test. That's-
Right.
okay.
Yep. So variety and description for a variety is 2 foot tall at maturity and produces 6 inch tall in flower heads, and it turns out to be 12 foot long.
And it's
with-
this color green. And
Yeah, that's a red flag, and we would test.
So going back to my question, because I'm not sure I completely answered.
Okay, maybe not.
I give you a
That would
pound
be
seed.
uncommon.
I give you a pound of seeds next year, it tests fine. I get it into the program and it's now a foundation seed. Do I give you that foundation seed and you plant it again and test it the next year? To make sure. So the reason I say this is, let's go back to what Ryan did. 2 years ago, Ryan tested at 0. So if he had done that, giving you those seeds, which were hybridized genetics at that point in time, he give you those, they test at 0. The next year he gets foundation, the next year he gets registered, the next year he gets certified, and he's pretty confident the next year his 400 acres are going to go above that 0.3% limit. Would it be possible that certified seed gets into the system that is now testing hot, or are you going to test every single year of that certification?
No, but what we will do is, for a variety to be certified, this is really where I'm gonna have to talk to breeders like yourself and Ben, is how often do we have to go back to retest that foundation seed?
In the description of how it was derived, though, you can't.
It tells you how many generations.
Bought it in the hippie store, bought the other stuff from the.
Right, and right in there, it tells you, you have to define how many generations and how maintenance, so it is kind of built into it, but we are gonna have to decide, okay, how long, if your variety is there, how long is that good for before you have to decide if you're gonna re-enter it and still be in the certified program as an approved variety, or boy, has that variety lived its life cycle and you are moved on to new genetics.
The last sentence, only in big capital letters, varieties may be sold as certified hemp seed in Colorado. Is that to say that other varieties that are not certified may also be sold in Colorado?
No, it means if it hasn't been tested in those field trials and somebody is smuggling in seed and selling it as certified seed, it is not certified seed.
How about if they're selling it as not certified seed, but they're just making seed in their garage and selling it?
Well, let's correct it. It could be certified seed in their state, but it wouldn't be CDA approved certified seed, so we
It would
would
have to be-
recognize it.
We would not recognize it, and we would.
It would be treated as everything's been treated now. And so I have the same question, probably the same answer about what is considered within the program, and don't grow from seed, grow from tissue culture and clone.
You're probably a year away.
What's that?
You're probably, so currently, in my ornamental background, I can't think of a time where there's been a certification program developed outside of licensing agreements for a certified variety in a non-seed thing, because the protocols are all written up for how do you maintain generations of seed. I want to get there, just what you're saying, where a cultivar is also certified. I just know that my time and a new person's time will probably not get us that launch this year, just being sure.
And that's fine, but so the way that it's handled, if it's not certified, it's tested or subject to testing.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing will change to anybody that's not sold through this. You'd be liable for testing, you'd be, random and risk-based sampling the same way.
Okay, that makes sense.
But our goal is to get certified varieties, and honestly, it may take us some time to figure out how we do that, because there isn't, I can't steal this from anybody like I do everything else.
Well, I mean,
I take credit for it, but I'm
you know,
basically stealing this from
Franwell
other
has done
industries.
this with blueberries, was theirs, and everything's done with tissue culture. And that's the way a lot of people are going.
Geraniums, you go to the Home Depot or that, they're all done that way.
Yep.
It's just stock maintenance and then patents, which we don't have. And, there's other ways that we can protect it. I just have got to really sit down and have some time to think about how do we protect a variety that's not replicated through seed to give it the same protections and farmers the same benefits.
Tobacco is going to like cutting
The problem is no one can really, or no plant protection or plant patents are approved by the feds at this time in this arena stuff. You can apply all day long.
On the plant breeder, on the plant PDP, plant
Breeder protection
variety
patent.
PDPA, that application is done depositing seeds and application, and that, the barrier to entry, I was told by at USDA was, you can't ship the seed to us across state lines. Well, it's here at Fort Collins, so someone needs to put up a testimony, allow the PDPA out and see what happens. I don't know what the cost is to do it, but.
A lot of people have.
And really?
Yep, and they're sitting, basically, they're just sitting. Same thing with the plant patents, a lot of people have, and they're just sitting. And that's something that's where, and I don't know if the department would be willing to get involved, but it kind of goes back to that federal overreach, is that it's our opinion, it's my opinion, that the USDA can accept those seeds. U.S. Patent Office can accept those seeds. We are the world's largest importer of the damn seeds. Sit on Whole Foods shelves. We have uniform harmonized tariff schedules for these things. So them telling us that, at some point, I think we're going to push back in unison, kindly or rightly, and say, look, you do this for everything else.
I would tell you that in the last year, a number of federal agencies have taken some of the wax out of their ears.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think Mitch
That's true.
discussed the EPA is starting to talk. We have had conversations that a year ago we couldn't have.
Is there any point in which it makes sense to discuss with the industry and with the department seeking declaratory judgments on some of these things? Are we there yet?
In all this conversation, my brain is thinking, okay, we've got different parties. You are a directly affected party as a grower.
Right.
You fit under a different context of federal law. We as a state agency have different constraints and different roles. So, if you wanted to sue for a declaratory judgment, you probably would have standing and could do it. But
it's not just for us,
so
it's
far,
for the
we
industry.
are not. I'm not aware of any plans to get legal decisions through a court process in the state. I think,
But
as you
say
heard,
for
there's been a lot of movement through the negotiation stage, but.
So the department operates in some capacity as an agent of USDA in certifying organic or
And phytos.
or in phytosanitary requirements. And so, in my opinion, it could make sense at some point if it were the right climate to do so, to ask for to go for a declaratory judgment when it comes to these things, so that our industry can be serviced by Colorado Department of Agriculture working as an agent of USDA to certify organic. I think we should have the right to have these things. I think that
So organic can
it
be
seems like
certified.
declaratory judgment is the only thing we can do.
So organic can be certified.
You have more confidence in getting an answer through the court system than I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen more progress in phone calls than we're ever going to get through
Point taken.
federal court.
You can get certification for organic hemp.
CPDRS, USDA.
Through Nebraska's.
Okay. Phytosanitary?
That we haven't heard back down in the bank.
Okay.
That's a good question. I have 6 or 7 inquiries open. I don't get any answer at all. I just don't go through the Department of Agriculture to verify. Is there any move on that at all? In terms of exporting genetics from them?
No. So, to address Joel's, there is legal precedence in Europe where a breeder out of California had some of his genetics stolen and taken to Amsterdam, and he won in court that the people had taken his genetics, and he did it through DNA fingerprinting and phenotype.
In a California?
It was a California breeder. I'll have to go back and call this guy and find out this information, and I can email you if you want. But there is legal precedence out of Europe for that. And I should also say, I'll throw this out there. A lot of people are going to disagree, but there's a very easy way to patent your plants, and it's to modify them genetically. Monsanto does it, and Monsanto actually doesn't use certified seed.
they guarantee their seed and they undergo no certification process. They have no certified seeds. That all based on what you want to do with it. I mean,
Or insert a marker.
Right.
and
Yeah.
the simplest way to do it is
Insert the
log
marker.
combination, insert a marker in the known part of the genome. That I told Veronica we can make her a protein that actually is spelled out Veronica Carpio and drop it into the known spot of the genome, and then that is patentable. You can patent that.
I want that right away.
But that's considered a GMO.
That would
Yes.
be a GMO. That's how you can patent it. You have to genetically modify it.
Correct.
Are we done with certified seed?
So, no, we got a long ways to go, so I'm gonna try to.
He got a long ways to go.
Here's the certified seed production. It means we're gonna work with CSU, and AOSCA is the American Association of Seed Certifying Agents. So that's really what we're using, and they really set out three of the protocols here for the certified program itself. What the land has to be, what the field standards have to be, and what the seed standards have to be. So the land requirements, if it is a certified seed, it has to be planted where, you don't have, can't be someplace where there's volunteers from other crops. So it can't be
Contaminated.
foundation and registered class of seed. Have to be on an area that hasn't had industrial hemp for 5 years. If it is certified seed, it has to be produced on land that wasn't for 3 years. Okay? And the fields must be reasonably free of weeds or things that can't be separated out easily.
It doesn't address spacing, the distance between fields.
It will.
That's number 5.
That's in the field standard. So this really is this is for almost any class of seed. This is set up, but this is now established for hemp. So you have crop inspection, isolation, and impurity standards. So the grower is really responsible to ensure that the agent of the state, in this case we hope CSU, has access, can inspect it when he needs to, and it, depending on, some crops are 3 times, all crops are at least twice. So you've got to inspect it at the right time. Again, back to being able to make sure that it's pure. You got to be able to check whether the female flowers are receptive, so you can tell that they're all at the same stage. And then isolation areas that you just mentioned, they'll also be inspected. So there's a distance, which we'll get to, that area is also walked by the seed certifying agent to make sure that that variety is protected and pure. Field standards, and I'm going to try to run through rather quick so that we can get out of here reasonably close on time. This is isolation areas. Those setback areas have to be free of other cannabis plants. Here you can see if it's a dioecious type, the males have to be removed and all plants around them, and there's a setback for how far that has to be, even within the same variety in the field. And the setback distances really do vary based on the type of plant it is. So foundation seed, registered and breeder seed have different setbacks for how critical it is to maintain purity, and that's really what it is. It's really how much impurities will come up based on those setbacks. Okay. Impurities, and that's really like all crops. Again, most of this is just in its basic seed certification. This is nothing special that we're into now. Impurities would be removed before you look at the seed in the bag, ready to go in the bag. Any combination of impurities may be reason to decline, so it could be any combination of that number of different things, including you have to be able to make sure that things that might cross-contaminate or couldn't be cleaned out easily in seed cleaning, could be a nettle or something that couldn't be cleaned out because the seed is similar to it, could be cause for it not to be certified.
Is Seed Lab on board with this, CSU? Are they?
Seed Lab, interesting, they really haven't been overly willing to talk with us. They have, I don't want to say drug their feet, it's part of the, they just don't know that they can talk. When this showed up on the agenda, we got a call, and so we have told them that this is the direction we're headed. It appears from everything we see that we have just a couple of minor differences, and most of that is in verbiage from where they think they need to go. But they're also aware that we have a mandate from the state, and we will be moving forward.
And they will, as of January 1st, be able to take MC to do purities and germs and that kind of stuff. But that's what they told us.
So they are moving, and they realize they can't not participate any longer. Seed standards, this really doesn't matter which class it is. There's going to be a minimum standard of pure seed, inert matter, weed seed, and minimum germination. That is across all categories. Okay?
Federal statute is 75 germination period. Tighter than that?
No, the federal standard by AOSCO rules for seed certification are 80%.
Dormancy
Dormancy is not addressed.
is not what?
It's not addressed.
Address
It's not addressed.
is not addressed.
And there's things that differ between the type of crop, foundation, registered, or certified. Total other crops, other varieties that may be inside of it, and other kinds of seed. So, now I'll get to the funding part. We need to look for long-term funding solutions. We were down at the legislature this year with the tin cup, and I can tell you that's not an overly fruitful exercise. But we did secure funding for certified seed program. I'll call it, for lack of better term, seed money to get this launched. But that is not a long-term solution. And how we come up with that, I think, is going to be balancing what it costs a breeder to submit and how much the farmer pays. Now, I'm going to use the farmer as you know, everybody says, geez, it charges more of a registration fee. Well, first of all, since starting the program and talking about testing, I can't tell you how many times people have complained about how much their testing costs are. So if you are looking for an exit strategy to the high testing cost for compliance testing, this makes perfect sense. So if your average cost is considerably less for testing, and you run that into this helping fund the seed certification, whatever that might be, our average cost is $400, $500, $600 for testing. If you added $100 to a registration, or whatever that needs to be to fund it, and you didn't have to have any testing costs, it is cheaper for the farmer. I am not saying the farmer should pay for everything. I'm saying this is, I think, a balance.
What would that look like? A fee or a?
Right, as part of your registration, you'd have a registration fee, a per acre fee, and potentially a
Seed certification fee.
certified seed.
Does that happen at the point of purchase, or would that happen at registration?
It happen at registration. Because in a certified seed program and every other thing, that person that's growing that certified seed is paying CSU for that service. We don't know, it's not like we want to try to figure out how to tap into a completely different area. And this is why we're going to have to sit down with the committee and determine how do we get get started with, but we've got to find a long-term solution.
And, through fees, on the farmers or companies that are submitting.
Some could,
certified seed.
but if we look at how much the total variety cost would be, it is probably too high and would discourage some companies, which then limits the number of varieties a farmer has access to. So that's why I say, looking at this just purely as economics, I think it's got to be a balance of how much do we ask the person that's submitting a variety to pay, and how much do we also say, farmer, you are having a benefit, and a portion of that and shared in that, really reducing your risk and reducing your test costs.
We can sell the farmer a certificate. At that level.
Can't you just make the legislature give you more money?
We could try.
Okay, okay, that's, okay, perfect. Just want to make sure that's an option.
Legislation, if anybody's got extra money they want to donate for this purpose, it allows grants. Somebody can, if you want to see this program up for your own personal business reasons, you can write the check and it goes into the fund for them.
We had a number of people last year, especially from Toronto area, that were real interested in doing it. They had hooks for what they wanted done. And I can only do the hook as far as, I can make sure it goes to seed certification, but I can't do it for somebody's personal business needs. It's got to be. So, but, and at that point in time, most of them quit discussing. I might as well turn my pump off. Oh, yeah, so timeline for the seed certification?
And the rules.
And the rules, yeah.
Yeah.
So, first on, I'll wrap up the seed certification. As I mentioned, we hired somebody. We will, we've got, as you can see, kind of a foundation there. We've got somebody that can help work on this, and we'll be planting the first test plots this year to get the varieties certified, authorized, approved, that they'll be underneath 3.3% THC, and then we'll move into THC production.
Could you remind me that person's name?
Terry Moran.
Poor Terry.
Rules?
I've got a hard stop in 1 or 2 minutes, and I have to leave for a conference call. And so I'm just going to make a comment, and I know this will probably go on, but, we kind of represent the hemp-inspired folks in this state, and I just want you good folks at the Colorado Department of Ag to know from all of us that we think you guys are doing a fantastic job. And it's difficult, it's challenging, and as I go on speaking tours around the country, Colorado is leading the way in, this whole hemp industry. And these different states have different rules and regulations, and what has been done in Colorado is so incredible, where anybody that wants to grow industrial hemp can, unlike many other states. And how you folks are managing this and administering it is really challenging, so kudos to all of you. Thank you on behalf of all of us.
The common sense, the transparency, the help,
Correct.
the clarification, and the way you communicated with us.
Well, I'm gonna.
And this today.
I'm gonna turn this backwards, because 18 months ago, 20 months ago, I couldn't have told you a damn thing about cannabis or hemp. So the only reason we are where we are today
I love Dwayne.
is because I've got an advisory panel and registrants that are willing to talk to us and come to the table. So I turn around and have to thank you all. So, rules timeline. We will have to submit rules it's supposed to be by the 1st of December, but we have a little grace period there. So we'll be drafting rules accordingly. They'll be published. I think it's Merry Christmas. And then we'll have a hearing in January.
We're shooting for the end of March is when they would be effective.
Yep.
But you can all come to the hearing and make any comments you want.
Yes.
Anything else? rushed through some of the most critical part, we're trying to get you out of here before, but I really do have questions again.
I've got a question about the CBD extraction laws and the exportation of our products and what the standards need to be, what we can do. As of right now on my application, it says that I can extract, I'm going to be using it for CBD extraction. What standard is put on that oil? 0.3 or 1% or any or?
So, two things. The part you're referring to on a registration is only for us to, we don't put it in the computer, we don't do all that, look at it, so that if this becomes more than a blip on the radar of agriculture, that we are ready to put marketing efforts, if our marketing department were to get involved, that we knew what part of the industry was growing. So that's all we use it for. We don't quantify. We even get asked, what percent of your hemp registrants are CBD producers? We've thrown out our number around 50%, but that's because, boy, Grant is growing for fiber mostly, but he's also got some CBD breeding, so he checks off, well, that's not 50%
Right.
of our registrants' total business. So sometimes those numbers get misconstrued, and shame on us. We kind of use those numbers loosely, hoping that people ask the second question about what it means, and oftentimes they don't. They use it for what their objective is. Second part, I think, would be we don't have jurisdiction over the processing or the end product. What we try to relay to our registrants or processors that call us is that the definition seems to say 0.3% concentration. If it is over that, I would suspect that someone would have an issue with it. And so probably the easiest answer I give people, if you are below 0.3 coming in, make sure it's below 0.3 going out.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the higher CBD crops that are coming in close to the threshold of the 0.3 potentially can't be extracted.
Or
Unless the
extraction.
Or
methodology
they dilute
would have to
the
be
extraction.
changed.
Dilute the
once-
extraction.
Once the department has tested those plants and it passed, harvested, it's not the department's jurisdiction, and they're not saying what happens with it. But to take it further, because I have experience in it, is depending on what you're doing with it, whether you're keeping it in the state or whether or not you're going interstate, you're under the jurisdiction of someone for that product manufacturing that you're doing. It sounds like it's a food or a supplement or a medicine, and if you intend to distribute across state lines, now it's really FDA. So you want a FDA registered facility, and then you want to comply with different things. And if you have this moment in time in which you think your extract of your CBD plants will break that threshold, just advice is make that a very small moment in time before it's back at 0.3 or less in a final product.
You could also, if you're doing supercritical, just do a second round of supercritical and you get pure CBD.
Yeah, and we've been experimenting with several different types of methods of extracting, chemical extractions, water extraction, CO2 extraction, everything. So, but our percentages are all over the board, and from time to time, there'll be something where I'm like, I really don't want to have anything to do with this anymore because I don't know if I'm protected or not, and it's good to know. No, thank you.
One other thing, just so you're aware, is December 16th, we're going to do a hemp year in review, kind of like what we did last year, downstairs.
Oh, cool.
It's open to anybody to
Yeah.
come.
That's good.
Dwayne will go through some of this stuff, but more kind of what happened this year and what went on. So this was a focused advisory committee. That's just open to the public. And so if you want to come, it's December 16th.
And that's here.
Yeah, it'll be here.
It'll be here, it'll be in a bigger room downstairs.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Pardon me? What time will that be?
I think it's
Don't
in
know
the
yet.
afternoon.
I think it's 1 to 5, but I'm not positive.
I actually have two questions. How does Colorado come into play listed as federally preferred for procurement. GSA contracts are requested hemp at a federal level. We also have a shipping code that's been on the books since World War II. Now, I'm just wondering why we can't conduct business to supply GSA contracts. I get fibrous rope contracts daily from the GSA is government secured there, and I'm a minority-owned company. Now, if I'm in 27 categories, and I live in Colorado, and we have the bio-preferred program, I'd like to just give you this so maybe you could use it, because I just don't understand how we can't supply contracts if we're being requested.
Do you want to answer that, or you want me to try?
Yeah, and don't take this wrong, but we have more than enough to do to figure out the regulatory part. And I think you need a good private attorney who specializes in the business aspect. I mean, that's a whole specialty of itself.
No, we're CDA, we're not US.
Oh, so you're
We're
not.
the Colorado Department of Agriculture, and federal, I mean, you are so far into a niche area, you need somebody that specializes in that area that can then apply that legal knowledge to how does that apply to hemp, which is what we're constantly doing with regulatory law, certified seed stuff, but
Okay,
I don't even know enough
there's
to
a
comment, though.
specific code for shipping hemp in bales, boxes, or drums.
Yeah, you need somebody that specializes in that area. That'd be like me giving you tax advice, you don't want it.
I'm not asking for advice, I'm saying, why can't we?
Well, first, I guess the other thing I would say is our jurisdiction is limited to cultivation. So once it's beyond cultivation, it's the processing of that. It's beyond our jurisdiction. We, even as a state agency, have jurisdiction within the state.
You guys are doing awesome, really. I mean,
Just this little hitch is enough to try to figure it out, so.
well,
It's a
maybe
great
some
question,
of this
but.
can help you, because, I mean, the federal level is already
Hey, Adam.
wanting the product, then
Yeah, the number of conflicts between federal agency is baffling to us all.
That's why we're all here. Thank you guys for.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, I have one question, not a question.
Adam, can you please tell the audience who you are and what your field name is, your farm name?
My name's
Seriously.
Adam Fontaine, and I'm the owner and operator of Western Colorado Hemp. We're based in Palisade, Colorado. We have 4 farms in Colorado, 2 in Palisade, 1 in Avondale, and 1 in Kirk, Colorado.
Impressive. Okay.